So what I'm saying is here, what is a testing? So what is your view about testing? General word, testing. Yeah, you can just tell your views about testing. I don't need any technical definition. What you understand by testing? Okay, so testing is to check, right? If someone, yeah, Uma said that it is used to check.
Yeah.
Check what? What to check?
System.
Hmm? So they're saying test checking whether checking. Just a minute. So checking anything in its software and functionality. Checking something whether something is working. Okay, yeah. So you want to check some software is working, right? Or some application under test is working or not. Also, some keyword you have used, that's a functionality. Some function, it is whether it is functioning or not, you want to check. So who will decide this software, application and the functionality? Who will decide what is the software, what would be the application, or what are the things you want to test? Yeah, we should have a list of things to be checked, right? So who will provide us what to check? Okay, developer, some developer, product manager. Well, so we'll take a small scenario like suppose I want to develop an app. Okay, I want to get developed one application. Maybe that app is based on my requirement, my needs. So I have some requirements. I have some 50 requirements. I want to design one application like Amazon. Okay. So as you know, in Amazon, many features are there. You can log in, you can log out, you can search some product, you can pay, you can, right? All the features are available. So I have my 50 list of requirements. So these 50 requirements, based on this, I want one application to be developed. So I want this application for myself, means I'm the client, correct? I'm the client. So client has some set of requirements and you want that app to be developed. So he goes to a company and requests for and specifies these 50 requirements. So what do you do? Your company will take these 50 requirements, okay, and what they do, they have to first whatever the requirements are there, they have to collect it from the client. So first thing, what they would do, they have to collect the information. So collect the requirements. First point. After collecting the requirements, first they have to analyze it. They have to study it, whether they can fulfill all these 50 requirements or not, or whether they can do this application for me or not. Correct? So second thing is analyze. They have to study it. Once after studying, if they can take up this 50 requirements task, then they will do a planning. correct? That is known as a design. So what is meant by designing? Now they have to plan how many days this project will take for them to complete, right? How many resources they may need to appoint or take to this project. Means resource in the sense the testers, developers, how many people they want to take for this project to develop and test. Okay, what would be the budget, the time duration? So how to start the work, from where to start the work, this project, how to divide into smaller parts, like if the project is bigger project, I have a project P1. When you're trying to develop this project, I would try to break this project into smaller pieces, right? I may divide it into module 1, which may be considering some relating to one function, certain group of functionalities. You may have a sub module, that is a module 2. Second part is module 3. So on, you may divide your project into parts. Then if the module 1 is also quite big to do, you can divide into sub modules. Okay, sub module 1, sub module 2. In each sub module, you may have different functionalities. Different functionality means what? Performing, relating to certain task. Logging into an application is certain task, some operation you have to do, and that is relating to one function, some operation. So logging in is a functionality, log out is a functionality. I want to upload a file, that is also a functionality. Email composing is a functionality, right? Search is a functionality. Buying a product is a functionality. So whatever actions you perform to do a particular transaction, they are termed as functionalities. Okay, functionality means in simple language a task, a requirement. So this is how you divide or design your project. Now when you're trying to design the project, you try to decide from where to exactly start your project, how many modules you're going to divide it, sub modules, what are the functionalities will come under each module. These are all categorization you will do. And also in this design step itself, you will decide what is that software you're going to use for this project to develop, what is the hardware and software requirements, support things, everything you'll be deciding in this design. Am I clear? Yeah.
Yes, Lakshmi.
Now, once the design is confirmed, then you try to work on it. Now you have put a layout from where to start exactly. Then actually the development would start. In this development, the developers, whatever, if you're working, if your project is wanted to be developed in a Java language technology or .NET or anything, okay, then the developers will start doing the coding in the development phase. Once the coding is done, whatever code they write for each functionality, that has to be tested. By whom? By the testers. So once a login functionality is being designed, okay, the developers has designed this functionality. You have a username text box, username, you have a password text box, and a button for submitting the details. So this is your login screen. So here, once the developer designed this login screen, there has to be tested by the testers. Now, how will you test it? Okay, as a tester, just as not as a tester, as a common user, what are the different ways you'll perform a testing? If you have been given this login screen, how will you perform a testing? How will you test it?
Normally by putting some random username or password.
Random username and password, and click on this button. You will be giving some username and some password. Random, you say.
Yeah.
Random means if that user is not registered with that application, it will not log in, correct?
Right.
So I will make a list. I have a username field, I have a password field, and what is the output of this application. When you pass random username and random password, anything, what are your expected result? It will not log in, right? It won't log in. When you enter a valid username and valid password, then only it will try to log in. It may go to your accounts page. Now, what is the other way you will try to execute? This is one way you will test it. Any other approaches? See, one thing, as a tester, you should test the application in all the possible ways. You should think out of box. You should not think as a normal user. You should think out of box, beyond the user thinking. Okay, the tester should think the ways of testing the functionality which a user may also not think. Okay, so here someone has posted here, click OK without entering username and password. Okay, you have been clicking only on the button without any username and password. Should it allow? It should not allow. So there can be some user who without entering username and password may try to click on a button. So in that case, the developer should take care. If you don't enter any data to this field, this OK button should be disabled so that they don't go for that attempt. Okay, that is one way to stop that operation from the end user. OK button is disabled up till the data is not passed to those two fields. Next combination, incorrect username and password. Okay, you have entered a wrong username, wrong password. You should get some message. Correct? If you display some message, it would be helpful for the end user. Please enter valid username and valid password. So message is expected. Sometimes the other combination, you enter a valid username but password is not entered. In that case, you can design the button in a disabled state so that you don't go ahead to click on the button and display some message. So in this way, based on the requirements, you have to make the different combinations. How will you test a particular functionality? So that work is done by a tester. Correct? But before the tester doing this operation, he has to do some homework. Means, first of all, he should know what are those requirements, whatever the 50 requirements told by a customer, client. First of all, he should understand them. After understanding only, he can make a list of ways how we can test those requirements. If you understand what is a sign in, what is a login, then only you can come up with these combinations, right? So for a tester or even for a developer, the requirement understanding is very important. Then only the developers will try to implement the coding, and testers will try to make the test cases. Okay, you'll write test cases for the functionalities which are requested by the client. So what is the testing, you can say? Testing is nothing but a process. Testing is not a one-step action or one-step activity. In testing, you have many phases because a testing is done by a tester, but tester has to understand. First is what? Tester has to understand the requirements. Okay. Then he has to analyze it. Okay. He has to get clarifications if any misunderstanding or not any insufficient information. He can get it clarified. Once after understanding the requirements, he has to prepare the test scenarios, test cases. He has to prepare the test data, for which data he want to test the functionality, and then do the actual testing process. That is the execution process, we call it as. After doing execution, you try to analyze the result. Analyze the result means when I'm entering a wrong username, wrong password, I'm expecting a message. So do you see the similar kind of message when you're actually doing it on the application? My expected is a message, error message. And if application is not behaving in this manner, it is an error in the functionality. Am I right? According to my test cases, I expect a error message when I enter wrong username, wrong password. But when I'm actually doing a testing of my application, if I enter wrong username and wrong password, no error message is displayed. So what does it conclude? There is some problem with this developed application login functionality. So what I do, that is that comparison, the output of the application comparing with my expected output is nothing but an analyzing. If expected output and the actual output of the application mismatches, it is an bug. Bug means a defect. Bug. Okay. So when the output of the application does not match with your expected output, it is a bug. So the bug is in the functionality which is developed by the developers. So what you try to do? You try to make a list of all such defects during testing process and send it to the developers, where in turn the developers will look into these defects and try to modify the code for the functionality. So next time they try to edit this functionality code and send you a new application for the sign-in. Once they send you the new application, you try to do these testing steps once again on that new application and try to compare whether your application is behaving as your expected output. If yes, both the results are matching, then you say that functionality is done. Testing is done. Getting? So in this way, actually, we do a testing. Yeah. Any questions here? We're just understanding in general what is the testing and how actually we perform the testing process. We're not getting into any automation tool, neither Selenium, nothing, just a process of testing. So when you say development coding is done in the different environment in real time. It is known as a dev environment. In dev environment, the developing of the code will be done where this environment will be suitable for writing a code. If you're working on a Java technology, those kind of technologies would be adopted into these systems. That environment would be suitable for writing the coding. And the testers, their environment would be different, which is suitable for the client or where the application can be used. So the QA environment or a staging environment or UAT environment should be suitable for testing. Means maybe operating system or the browser if it is a web application. So that should be which should be somewhat similar to the client environment. The testing environment should be same like a client environment, because at the end the application would be used by the client. So we try to maintain the standards or the environment equivalent to the client, the testing environment. Clear? Now when the development is done, they will send you that application, the functionality in the form of build. B-U-I-L-D. Build. The first build one will come to this QA environment. Once the build comes here, you see that application, you execute the jar file, you see the application is running here, you can see the login functionality. Then you try to test here. During testing process, if you see a bug, you try to track all the bugs. Today I'm doing a testing. If I found some 5 defects, 1, 2, 3, I just make a list of all the 5 defects and in an Excel sheet or some other tool. So where first defect is about what? Okay, wrong username, I did not get a message. So I try to write the description about these defects. Once all the list is done, I send this list to the dev environment, where the developers will look into these defects and try to fix those defects. Once the defects are fixed, the new build will come for testing. That is a build 2. You'll get always a new build. The old build will never come. Even though functionality is the same functionality, after modification, the build number changes. Again, you'll as a tester, you'll repeat the same testing process and try to check still the errors are exist or being fixed. So this is a circular process. Okay, this steps keeps on repeating until the application is error free. This is known as a testing process. So testing is not a one-step action activity. It is a many phases are included in that. So why these multiple phases are needed? Just to find out the defects in the application, right? If all the defects are found from the application, means what? Your application is defect free. When the application is defect free means what? You call this as a quality application. Quality application. When the application is maintained to a level of quality is maintained, then means the client requirements are fulfilled. So whatever the 50 requirements the client was expecting, all are available in the application. There are no defects, means this is a quality application. Means your testing process is done. Yeah, is that clear? Any questions? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so this is about general testing. In testing, you have two types of testing. One is a manual testing, and second one is the automation testing. Okay. So manual testing means whatever the actions you're going to perform or testing process is there, you're going to do manually. That is known as a manual testing. If you perform all the steps of execution manually, that is a manual testing. The same steps if you perform with the help of a tool, that is known as an automation. Now you'll ask me, if I can do the testing process manually, what is the need of automation? Well, suppose I have a functionality that is a login. Login is a functionality where I can test my login functionality for a user. It was working fine by entering wrong data, right data, missing information, all the scenarios I have tested it, it's working fine, perfectly. Now the client asked me to do this testing for login for 1 lakh user credentials. Suppose it is a banking application and the bank want to test me for 1 lakh all his customers. Then it's impossible, or it's not possible for a manually to test for 10,000 customer credentials. Maybe if I just if I try to do it, I may make a human error, right? By mistake, I may enter a wrong credential and conclude that the test case was failing. So to avoid the human errors or the time delay, I may take a lot of time to just do not a productive work. Just I need to pass the 10,000 usernames to that login screen and just get the output. That's not a productive work. Okay, I'm not. The company is not making a right use of the resource. So that just entering the data and taking the output can be done by anyone. So to avoid some human errors, to avoid the time consumed by a tester, you can go for an automation. So in automation, you can write a script saying the same script as you do a manual testing. Like first one, find, first step what it will be, open login screen. First step, I have to write a first step to open the login screen. Once login screen is available, you have to find username text box. Then after, enter data of username. Then find password text box. Then you have to enter data again to password. Then I have to click find OK button and then do a click action over it. So when I perform all these steps for 10,000 times, I may get a report for which user input the login was successfully done and for whom it has failed. I can get a report. So writing the script once and execute this for the how many usernames you have in your Excel sheet. So I may get the data, the 10,000 username and password in the form of an Excel sheet. This is a username and password and the output you want. So whatever usernames of the bank customers are there, you can take this as your sample data, and where you can write a code in such way this data will be passed to these text boxes and this script will be executed as much test data you have in the Excel sheet. So there you need to use a looping concept of Java. So here we are going to learn automation. That's a Selenium with Java combination. So in Java, the loop concept we will try to implement for looping the data or passing the multiple test data to your script. So in manual testing, you'll do this operation manually, and which was impossible for a manual tester to test the same functionality for n number of test data, you can do automation. Clear? Next point, if the client requirements are 50, you're not going to automate all the 50 functionalities. Only few, wherever required, as login was needing an automation, logout don't need an automation because that's only one time you try to test it, that's enough. So whatever the requirements specified by the client, you're not going to automate all of them. Only few requirements wherever required, essential, there only you try to automate. That is your second point. Well, is that clear? Any doubts so far? Hope you got an idea what is the testing, manual testing, and why we are going for the automation. Well, now next point, in automation you have two types of automation tools are available. One is Selenium, and second one you might have heard somewhere like UFT or QTP. Okay, and some others are there, but these are the two popular automation tools. These are known as the functional automation tools where the functionalities can be tested. The application functionalities are tested. There are some differences between these tools. Selenium is an open source. Open source in the sense it is freely available to download and use. Okay, lifelong. You can just download this jar files and just configure it to your project. So open source tool, but QTP or UFT is known as a commercial tool. It's a commercial tool. You need to purchase the license and then use it. But you have a limitation. This QTP can work only on the Windows platform. Windows operating system. But Selenium can work on any operating system. You can configure Selenium on Mac machine, Linux, Windows, anything. But if you're using UTUFT, the application which is working on Windows operating system only can be automated. And here, even browser has a limitation. Only Internet Explorer browser is compatible with the automation. But here, any browsers you can use for automation, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Edge, anything you can use for automation. Okay. So these are some of the different points between the differentiations between these two tools. Okay. And also you have some more points just mentioned here. Here you'll be using in Selenium, can be used with Java technology, Ruby, Python, .NET, okay, any of this technology. But mostly you'll get good openings are there and major of projects are available with the Selenium with Java combination. So that's the reason in this course we are going to learn Selenium with Java. But if you're using a QTP, you need to go with only one scripting language, that is a VB script. But Selenium can be written or combined with any of these technologies. Okay. In QTP, one advantage is here, after executing your script, you will get a built-in reports. The output is in the form of a report, organized way. But Selenium don't have any reports. Selenium will not give you any reports after executing your test case script. But in case if you need a report, what you will do? You will add a third-party plugins. You can customize. As per your requirement, you can just customize the Selenium. You can add a third-party plugin, that is a TestNG, which is mainly used for generating the reports. With the TestNG, you can get the reports of your test cases. So in this manner, you can just do customization. If I want to work with Excel sheet, I'll just add the jar files of Excel sheet and do the automation. If I want to automate anything from a database, I would add the jar files of the database and then automate it. So in this way, you can just add the required jar files to the Selenium and do the automation. Okay. Now, as we are going to learn the Selenium with Java, so first we will be learning. Java is already provided to you as a self-paced recordings. You can go through it and understand the Java concept. But some points which are very required, I'll just take 1 or 2 sessions on Java, which are required for starting with the Selenium, and simultaneously you can go through those recordings of Java and understand. If anything is there, you can just ask me, I'll explain. Okay. So, but in Selenium, you have different products, components of Selenium. In components of Selenium, we'll be learning Selenium IDE. This is just an integrated development environment where you just record the test script, test steps, and playback. This is completely based on record and playback. Okay, we'll see once we just use these tools how to do, we'll see. Second component is a Selenium WebDriver. This is our main topic where you'll be writing the test steps, your script based by automating the functionality of the application. The third component you have that is you'll be in WebDriver itself, we'll be learning the TestNG everything. And the next concept you have that is a grid. This is also a component of Selenium. Okay. So Selenium IDE, Selenium WebDriver, and Grid. These are the three components of your Selenium. In Selenium WebDriver, you'll be learning the basic WebDriver, advanced WebDriver, test engine, and here comes the frameworks, page object model, also known as POM, page factory, and even we'll be learning the Maven project, how to handle the Maven projects. And then go for the grid, and this is what the overall course content is. Okay, now first, what are the softwares required? How to set up the environment to start with Selenium? First thing, you need to install Java. Then configure the Eclipse. Okay, so these are the two things initially needed, and then after that we will try to add the Selenium jar files. Okay, so first installing Java, Eclipse, and adding the Selenium jar files, and then trying to automate it. So before adding the Selenium jar files, I would take the Selenium IDE. So how to configure this Selenium IDE, that also we will see. First we will start with Selenium IDE and then go with the WebDriver.
First, you need to just download the Java. Where's the Java file? No, executable file. Exe file. Yeah, just double click, open that file. Double click. That's an application file. Just double click over it. Yeah, wait 2 seconds. Yeah. Now this is the, just a minute. This is the path where your C in the C drive program files Java would be downloaded. Just if you want to change the path, you can select it, or else keep this as a default path in the C drive program files. Yeah, go to the next. The steps are simple. You need to just go through the wizard. That's it. Just a minute. Okay, close it. Just go to the C drive. Wait. Just go to the C drive. Verify in the path, program files, Java. Already you have Java, JDK 10 is there, JDK 11, 1.8. These many things are not needed, right? So if you already have Java 1.8, no need to download it once again and install it. You can use 1.8 itself. Okay. Fine. You can just remove this JDK 10. Delete it. Keep only one version. And even delete JRE 1.8, because if you have many versions, it get confused in while execution which version of jar files it has to consider for execution. Yeah, skip it. I think you have even Eclipse on your machine. Yeah, skip it. Before the installation of Java, you can check from your command prompt whether Java is configured or not, and then go for the installation. Okay. File in use. What is that down in the taskbar? The Eclipse which is open. Yeah, just click on the down that. Yeah. Close this. Is there any Eclipse on your desktop?
No, just now I downloaded that.
Okay.
Shall I open it now?
Sorry?
Shall I open this file now or Eclipse?
Not now. We just want to delete the existing Java things initially. Just close it. Close this file in usage. Yeah, that window. Yeah, go to that folder of Java. Delete that JARE. Okay. Now we have only JDK 11 version. Now to anyone to verify whether Java is there on the machine or not, open a command prompt, CMD. In the search, you can write just CMD. Yeah. There you can just type Java, JAVA space hyphen minus version, VERSION, and enter. So now you don't have, see here it is saying could not open the C drive JRE. Okay, because it was actually might be configured in the environment variables. It is not finding it. It is not still identifying the 11 version. So what you have to do is you need to set the path of Java in the environment variable. Yeah. Now just go to the location of Java 11 version. Open this folder. Open the bin folder. Now you need to set this path in the environment variable, system environment variable. Yeah, copy that path. Go to this PC, right click. There's an option, yeah, this PC. Right click, properties. Advanced system setting on the left side down, yeah. Environment variables, last option. Now here you have two sections, user variables and system variables. Two windows, you can set it. Now you find in the user variable section path, PATH variable name. Select it and edit it. Never delete anything from this path. You can keep on adding but don't delete. Click on new and paste the path of the JDK. Yeah, okay. Similarly, do to the path variable in the system variable below. Path PATH. Edit and even add here as well. New, yeah, paste it. Okay. Now everywhere just click OK and finish it. Okay. Now you can close this window. Now if you want to verify, check once again in the command prompt. You can type again, verify the Java version. Now close it and open it once again. Still it is taking. Okay, just go to the control panel. Open a control panel. Check here a Java in the program files. Yeah. No, programs and features. Yeah, I'll come to that one. Java 8 update is there. Just delete this as well. Uninstall. Check any Java file. Now you have Java 8, 11 and anything else? J 10 point. Yeah, delete it, uninstall. And the program is installed, is being installed. Okay, just check now the version. Okay, now it is identifying version 11.0. Okay, now the environment variable is done. Okay, you can close the command prompt, environment variable, everything. Clear? Now Java is done. Next step is installing the Eclipse. Now, whatever the file you have downloaded for Eclipse, just double click over it. You have already downloaded, I guess. Open that link. Have you not downloaded it? Eclipse installer 64-bit. What is the show in folder? Yeah, click on that show in folder. That's it. About that. About no. The downside. That's a JDK Eclipse. Yeah. Open it. JR is missing. Okay, scroll down. In the Google, just type JRE for Java 11.0. JRE for Java 11. Yeah. Just write JRE download. Because earlier, along with Java, both the files used to get it. Yeah, you have down here Java runtime environment download free, 4th one. Yeah. Yeah, click on that link. Yeah, free download. Early 11. I got 2 hours left. Mhm. Is anyone facing the same issue?
I have already installed Lakshmi, both Java and Eclipse.
Okay, so Java, which version you have, Surya?
8.1.8, just
Yeah, you can keep, no need to change it.
1.8.0.73.
Yeah. So that's fine. No need. If you have 8, that's okay.
Mhm.
If you have Java 7 version, then we need to change it, uninstall and do it once again. If you have 8 version of Java 10, no worries. You can keep as it is and we can work on that. No worries.
Yeah,
Even
I
I
have.
use 8 version.
Yeah, I have 8 version.
Because earlier when we used to download the Java, we used to get both the files, JDK as JRE, complete pack. Now
Okay.
they just modified in the site. It's taking time.
One more doubt, with respect to this JRE, whether we need to use the same version whatever we have installed for JDK, or we can use for some other version.
No, no, it is good to use the same version. Earlier you had 8 version, right? JRE 8 was there and JDK 11 was there. Now we just already we have JDK 11. Now we are taking JRE 11 version. Okay. Yeah, close it. Fine. Now just try to download that Eclipse. No, Eclipse was. We're just giving once again JRE. Now open the link which I have given you for the Eclipse download. Yeah, download it. Just double click on it. Let's complete. Just double click. Cancel this. Escape. Hmm. What is the DMG extension did you get? Or just go to that site where you have just downloaded. Click on the download button, yellow button. It's DMG you're getting. Close it. You can cancel it. Go back to that first page of the Eclipse. Click on that 64-bit. Click on that download now. Okay. Okay, we'll see. Just a minute. Just double click over it, that download one. Cancel it. Okay, when you go to that which already you have a JRE Eclipse. Do you have already Eclipse on your machine, Srinivas?
No, ma'am.
Okay, just go to that in the downloads, go to that Eclipse file, application file. Not that. In the downloads, already you have downloaded folder. Yeah. Double click on it. Already we have, yeah, come down, browse it down.